Alrighty, welcome back. Here we are at game number 3 between MVP and Cella. And this time we're here on Shattered Temple. And right now Cella is down 2-0 against MVP in this series. So hopefully we see him starting to make a comeback right now. We can see again here on Shattered Temple, spawning in the 6 o'clock position is Cella as the blue Zerg player. And then right up here in the 12 o'clock we do have MVP as the red Terran player. Alright guys, so again, this is game number 3 in this series. So far, MVP just cleaning house. Last game, constant aggression is what we saw from MVP. He attempted again the early game Marine bunker harass, however, it wasn't that successful. He then followed it up with some attempted Hellion harass while moving into an expansion. However, at the same time, we saw a very strong early roach push from Cella. Now with that, he was able to do a little bit of damage. He didn't actually bust too far into MVP's main base. He killed off a reactor, but not actually managing to get in the base and do too much damage. But still doing enough damage to feel comfortable to move into a third, and we did see Cella move into the third at the high yield. But then after that, MVP transitioning into Marauder Hellion to counteract those roaches and speedlings early game. MVP just went to town. I mean, constant aggression. It was a very impressive play from MVP. He was literally absolutely relentless with the Marauder Hellion aggression early on in the game. Then moving into his third, and he just mopped up from there, transitioned into Marine Tank to deal with that, what was it? The Muta transition that we saw. So yeah, pretty interesting game number 2 here, but let's pay attention now to game number 3. We do have MVP opening up what appears to be pretty standard, 10 depot, 12 racks, and 13 refinery. Actually, the refinery may have been even a little bit later. Excuse me. A little bit later, a little bit closer to 14 supply. Now back over here for Cella. Coming down with that 15 hatch, and then we'll be going into pool extractor. He's opened up hatch first every game so far, I believe. Feeling pretty comfortable with it. Wouldn't be surprised, though, if MVP attempts some bunker harass again. He's been doing it pretty much every game. Never mind. Going to be opening up with some Reaper harass here. We can see the tech lab going down right now immediately before any Marines are produced. Now, Cella should be fully aware and expecting these early Reapers. He could very well be going a 1-Rax Reaper into expand. Certainly, it's a viable build, and it's something that we do see every so often. And there we go. Here comes out that first Reaper. As expected, Orbital Command has just finished right now. We've got the SCV coming on down, and that will be used to engage the drone, actually, try to force him and stop him from doing any more damage to that tech lab. So right now, again, Cella is aware that this is coming out. He's fully aware and expecting that early game Reaper, kind of weaving a little bit through those drones. We can see very late extractor timing, going to be quite a while until speedlings are on the board. So actually, we are going to be seeing Cella relying on a spine or two and queens to deal with this initial Reaper, because without those speedlings, that Reaper is going to be able to micro away from those regular Zerglings quite easily. Now we do have that first Reaper on the map already with 1 kill from that drone. Coming out with a second Reaper, or is he going into his Expo? We'll have to wait and see here. Looks like straight into that expansion right now, so just starting with that first Reaper, right into the Expo. Here comes a second refinery as well, and let's see what he is able to do with that. Looks like we're going to see a factory come down there on the tech lab. Racks moving to the low ground, and this Reaper will be used primarily for scouting. He actually just got a Zergling kill and moving on in here, and right now, without, unfortunately, any queens out yet, he's going to have a hard time dealing with this Reaper. We'll be losing that Zergling, and then that Reaper will be chasing down that one drone. Look at how quickly that drone trying to run away, but to no avail. That gets taken out. So right now the Reaper sitting with 4 kills already. Factory a little bit over halfway finished right now, so again, MVP working his transition up. He's got some Marines pumping out of that racks as well. Now how is Cella going to be able to deal with this? Trying to move down with his queen, however, off the creep. That Reaper is able to kite the queens, and we've got that roach transition coming. 3 roaches on the way right now. Now they're going to have kind of a hard time dealing with tanks if that ends up what MVP is coming out with early on. I do expect some tanks from him. And there we go, Reaper pulling back. Satisfied with his 5 kills, we'll be heading back home. Maybe trying to circumvent those roaches. Needs to be very careful though. The roaches on the high ground will be getting some free kills if that Reaper gets too close right now. So it needs to be incredibly careful, trying to kite away, and again, just kind of dancing around, not really doing too much at all. We've got that Marine tank production coming out. We also have some layer coming out here for Cella, so working his way up into that higher tech right now. Another extractor coming down over there at the main, and nothing at the natural yet. Should be working on his economy at this point in the game. Again, just this amount of roaches is going to be more than enough. Now, we do have those tanks coming through. It also looks like those blue flames will be coming out, so he will be transitioning at least into a few Hellions to go with those blue flame Hellions. And oh no, the Reaper trying to make it up onto the high ground over there. Overlord spotting it was enough to allow Cella to respond with those roaches and take it out before he even managed to hop up high. So very, very nice response there by Cella, spotting with those Overlords. And here we go, roaches now moving across the map. We'll be grabbing the tower, and I will be interested to see if he attempts to push up. Now, we did have an Overlord scout that was situated over here. It looks like these Marines did just take care of it. We can see that supply block there for Cella right now. So we'll be forced to come out with some additional Overlords to try to compensate for that. Factory's now coming out with Hellions. Here comes that blue flame. He's actually just sitting on that one tank right now. Coming out with some additional depots as well. There we go. Finally alleviating that supply block, but not for long. Wow. That was actually a big mistake there by Cella. Look at that. He finished that supply block, and that put him at only 42 supply. So he can only come out with 2 supply more units. And now he has to wait for another Overlord. Unfortunately, Cella should have been making those 2 initially just so that he wouldn't have to run into this again, this temporary supply block that he's sitting on. That is certainly a little bit disappointing. Now, we have to layer up. We've got a Spire coming through. Looks like that is right over here. So making his way into some Muta harass is what I'm expecting to see there from Cella. MVP sitting with a lot of Hellions. I'm not sure where they went. Where did those Hellions go? There were a lot of Hellions. There they are. So Hellions right now moving across the map for MVP. And MVP, you can see right now he is explicitly avoiding the range there of that Xel'Naga tower. He's moving himself right around that. Now the Overlord should spot those Hellions, so now he's aware, in response, pushing down with those roaches, but these Hellions getting ready to do a lot of damage, and there's a lot of workers right there, and they are getting just roasted. So many workers killed, looks like a total of 9, and then going straight for that queen, and he busts through, getting the Hellions up into the main base, and here we go. Let the roasting begin. This is a very bad situation right now for Cella. I'm sorry for chuckling, but this is just absolute devastation. Cella, oh my gosh, he is going to really have to respond with some heavy, heavy damage against MVP to stand any chance of getting back in this game. That was just a travesty. That was absolutely devastating. It's not over. There's still a few more worker kills left here in these Hellions, and let's take a look. I'm almost afraid to look at the oh my gosh. That is a facepalm moment and a half. 39 workers killed. We're at the 10-minute mark in the game, and MVP has killed 39 workers. MVP, really, I do not see how there is any way that he can lose this game right now. Look at the income discrepancy. Look at the resources lost. Oh my gosh, I want to take a look here. We've got 17 drones as opposed to the 39 SCPs, but that, my friends, that was absolute devastation, and, you know, big applause go to MVP there. Just fantastic work. He demolished the resource line of Cella. Cella, I don't know what they're saying right now, but there's no way Cella's thrilled. He, again, realizes he needs to do some damage. He's got 4 mutas, and they're not standing a chance against just a couple of turrets and Marines. That is way more than enough that is necessary to actually push back this small amount of mutas. You know, mutas are fantastic, but early on, when you're sitting, you know, between 4 and 7 mutalists, you have a very hard time against 1 or 2 turrets and a couple Marines. The DPS is just way too high. Those mutas are just far too fragile, so MVP pretty safe right now. Really not too concerned about these mutas. They're going to be attempting to move in, but again, walking into that turret's more than enough to deter them. And here comes the heavy Marine tank push, and this is going to be another devastating attack here from MVP. 52 army supplies opposed to the 20 of Cella. He doesn't stand much of a chance right now. So again, I mean, he really lost the game in that resource roasting that we saw from MVP. Those Blue Flame Hellions did so much damage, and there's the GG from Cella. We saw MVP open up this game with some Reaper harass, managing to get a few worker kills, but primarily doing some scouting and just trying to harass Cella a little bit in the early game. Eventually, however, the roaches of Cella were able to push back that Reaper and prevent any more harassment. MVP then transitioned into a Blue Flame Hellion attack, and let's just rewatch this devastation here, getting a few clutch shots right there, killing off the Queen that was walling off that ramp, and then moving right up into the main, and this is just a travesty and a half, killing off a total of 39 workers when all was said and done, and this right here was really the win for MVP. Cella attempted some counter Muta harass, however running into turrets plus Marines was more than enough to deter him. MVP then pushed out with his strong Marine tank force to secure the victory and force the GG. Alright guys, so there you go. That's going to be the end of the series. It was a best-of-5 series, and MVP winning the first 3 games, doing a full sweep of Cella, unfortunately. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this commentary. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, keep watching and keep owning.